This is Raven Dana, and thanks for joining me here walking between the worlds. It is just a few days after the equinox. Spring has officially arrived, or if you're in the other part of the world, then autumn has arrived. And in any case, it is a time of balance. So I want to talk to you a bit today about cultivating more balance through mindfulness. Now, sometimes I know people who cringe when they hear that word and they think, oh yeah, it's about only doing the dishes while I'm doing the dishes. It's about meditating. Well, certainly that's part of mindfulness. Those practices help you to become mindful. But today I want to talk to you about some deeper, more layered, more nuanced practices for being mindful. And the first of which is to remember and to recognize, not in an intellectual way, but in a grounded, practical way, that we are mind-body. We are not mind and body. We are grounded in, our mind is in every cell of our bodies. Every thought we have changes our chemistry. And I want you to begin our little thinking process today by becoming more aware of the tremendous amount of information available to us through our bodies. So when you think about mindfulness, think about minding the body, that your body has information. Now, on the most surface level, see if you can just pay attention to the basics. Will you eat when you're hungry? Go to the bathroom when you have to go. Rest when you're tired. I mean, there are some of us who have a hard time just doing that. And let me remind you that we were trained up to ignore those signals when we were very small. Not by malicious, evil parents, but by parents who were busy, who, for some people, they didn't eat when they were hungry. They ate on a schedule. They didn't sleep when they were tired. They napped when it was nap time and went to bed when it was bedtime. Right? Sometimes they didn't even get to go to the bathroom when they had to go because they were in school and not willing to raise your hand or leave the room, but jiggling around till you finish that last thing or until the bell rang. And unfortunately, those traits have come into adulthood with most of us. So if you catch yourself jiggling around when you're on the phone or doing the dishes or trying to feed the cat, stop what you're doing and go to the bathroom. This is like mindfulness 101. Not just recognizing the signal of the body, but doing what it says. If you have to go to the bathroom, please go. If you're hungry, please eat. And if you're tired, please rest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stop everything and nap in the middle of the day, although you might, and that could become part of your schedule. But at the very least, when you're tired, that's a great time to meditate, right? That's a time to close your eyes, check out. Or if you're in a situation where you can access some beautiful view, you can go gaze at the view. Be mindful of the clouds in the sky, of the sound of the wind in the trees. Be mindful of the way you can observe maybe the birds at the bird feeder, and spend some time with that. That restful time will cool down your nervous system, take the edge off being tired, and bring you back into balance. So balance happens when we listen to the signals. For right now, we're talking about our body. When we listen to what our body's telling us, and we take action, right? And one of the things, a little bit deeper level of this conversation, is that if you notice that you're tight in the chest, or your jaw is clenching, or your fists are clenching, or you feel like there's a rod up your spine, well, clearly you're tense, and your body's telling you something. It might be telling you, hey, say no to that person, or have a conversation here, or you don't want to do that, so do something else. Right? So often that signal of tension or maybe irritation or even resentment in the body, right? Those physical sensations we have attached meaning to. And it's a little bit different for everybody. But generally speaking, if a person is looking down and they're crying, they're sad, right? If a person is tight and clenched and their jaw's clenched, there's some irritation, anger, frustration there. So what I'm saying to you is be mindful of your body and follow what it's asking you to do. If your body feels heavy and terrible and tired, maybe you're depressed. Maybe you need to sit with that a little bit. Maybe you need to have a break and go talk to a friend, or maybe listen to some music. Again, be mindful and attend to what your body's telling you. So there's a book called The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. And it talks about women who felt fear but let their minds override their fear and ended up in situations that were life-threatening, right? So the purpose of the book, he's talking to and telling the stories of a lot of these women, and he works with them after the fact. He's a trauma specialist. And one of the things he talks about at great length, is that your body tells you things that your conscious mind doesn't want to pay attention to, that will try to sweep under the rug. But the memos are there, the signals are there, even some of the thoughts are there. If only we would listen. So as part of this mindfulness conversation, I'm also suggesting that you do pay attention if you have a circumstance in which you feel fear. If you're walking to your car and you get a tingle up the spine, if you're walking up to your door and there's somebody walking near you or behind you and you have a sudden foreboding, pay attention to that. Stop what you're doing. Don't let them get close to you. Wait a moment. Walk the other way. Get out your keys or get out your whatever it is that in that moment you feel you need to do to protect yourself. Do it. Okay? Because, again, the point or the purpose of the book is saying it's never too late to learn this. And one of the examples was a woman carrying groceries, walking from her car up the front steps to her apartment, and somebody came up behind her and said, "Oh, here, look at, I'll help you with that." And she had that thought in the back of her mind, this is a double secure building. I shouldn't unlock this door. And she thought, oh, what's wrong with me? He's trying to be nice. So she unlocked the door. She pushed it open. He pushed it open for her. She went to carry through the door to carry her groceries in. He said, oh, let me carry that. That's so heavy. Let me carry. She was going to put one of the bags down and take them up one at a time. Let me carry that up for you. And again, the signal was, no, don't do that. And yet she talked herself out of it. Oh, come on, what's wrong with me? He's trying to be nice. Well, very long story short, he carries her groceries up. She unlocks her door. He gets into her apartment and locks the door, turns up the radio, and is preparing to. He's going to kill her, rape her, and kill her. Now, she does get away. So just letting you know, she did manage to get out. But the point is that she carried that fear with her for a very long time. Excuse me. And all of us have little moments of fear. And I'm not saying you're ever going to be in that circumstance, but I am saying that your body tells you things in impulses, in little quick gut feelings that your mind in that moment, most of the time, doesn't even try to decode. It wants to step over those things. So when you hear yourself saying, oh, I'm just being silly, or that's just superstition, or this is just, no, if your body's telling you something, pay attention, right? Pay attention. And again, it's a bigger package than fear. So please, mindfulness begins with minding the body. Eat when you're hungry, rest when you're tired, go when you gotta go. And there's one more thing. Infants cry to be held. We need touch. We, even as adults, have an experience called skin hunger. So if you are feeling out of sorts, it's okay to ask for contact, to ask for a hug, to ask, even if it's just for contact in a conversation, that gives you that feeling of give and take, that being cared about, that in that moment you and your body are looking for. All right, there are many other layers to mindfulness, and I'm going to come back and talk about some more of them. But for today, I'd like you to expand your idea of mindfulness. Yes, it is meditation. Yes, it is only doing the dishes when you're doing the dishes, which is, by the way, a fabulous practice to really feel the water, notice the temperature, hear the sounds of the water, feel the food falling off the plates, feel the dishes become slick and slippery, and then, all the things, the sound that they make when you put them in the dish dryer, all of those sounds. So if you're doing the dishes, do them. If you're petting the cat, pet the cat. You'd be surprised how many times people tell me, the cat was on my lap for 20 minutes, but I was thinking about blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, why don't you try petting the cat when you're petting the cat and see what happens? Right? It's a different experience. It's a deeper, richer experience that gives your mind time to quiet, to cool down. And I'm not saying you shouldn't ever think. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the noisy, busy, assessing, thinking, what should I be doing next? What should I have done differently? What should I be doing now instead of what I'm doing? Right? That's another one, another sad little game we play with ourselves. So I'm asking you to give yourself a little break from all of that and begin some practices that cultivate mindfulness more and more in your life. There will be more peace, more balance, less irritation, a little more fun. And that's my memo for today. I am going to come right back on a separate video and put up a meditation. So please enjoy yourself today. Play with these practices. Listen and see what your body's feel and see what your body's telling you, right? The deep unconscious mind doesn't speak to us in words. It speaks it speaks in sensations and symbols. So if you have those kinds of things showing up for you, resonating in your body, it's a memo. Pay attention. All right? Thank you for tuning in. This is Raven Dana, walking between the worlds. And I'll see you again soon. Bye now.